So here's your next idea, just a quick little one. Paper clips. And these ones are not hidden, they're on the back. But you can just clip them on like that. So I have these in your freebie. There's 8 squares, there's 4 trees and 4 butterflies. The trees all say grace on them in different fonts. So to make these, just take, I used a punch. This is a 1 3/4 inch punch, but you can easily cut it out by hand too. It's just a square, and make a square to match for the back. This one I used cardstock. I think cardstock maybe works a little bit better for these because it you don't see the paper clip outline as much. I've tried them with paper before, they work, but you do see the outline a little bit more. So then use a pretty good glue. This is a tacky glue here. And put some glue on, I'll put your paper clip on the square for the backing. And I put it on so that the large part is sticking out. Well, actually, no, this one I didn't. It doesn't even actually matter. So you put the glue on whichever side you want. And I'm just leaving it sticking up a little bit at the top. So you put your paper clip on, put glue, put it inside the paper clip like that as well. And then take one of your squares, line it up, and then just press. And this one I press like in the center where the paper clip is, in the middle, so I can get good sticking there too. So I'll just take a couple of minutes and squeeze that just to make sure that it's really bonded. This is a quick drying tacky glue, so it doesn't take that long. And then I think what I'm going to do is actually, because these paper clips are a little bit large for this, so I stuck them up at the top, or this one I put on the left and this one I put on the right. So I'm going to put little ties on there, just a little ribbon on there to add a little extra, but I don't have my ribbon ready, so I'll just show that to you when I do the next one. So here's the paper clips with, I just put a little bit of tulle ribbon on each one of them and finish them off nicely, and then when you have it in your book, that'll poke out the top or the side. So I think those will be cute, so I'll put those to the side here. And then I decided, while I had that tulle ribbon out, I would make some flowers. So I just made a few. This is a bigger one with, I put one of the centers that we made in there. These were just some little things that I had in a strip. I've had them for a long time. This one turned out more like a bow, a double bow, which is fine. This was a flower. And this one is a little bit more of a raggy flower that I made. This one, after I finished it, I just sort of snipped up here and there through the whole thing just to make it a little bit more raggy. So I'll probably only put maybe 2 or 3 of these in the journal. I don't want too many of these, but I'll show you how to make them next. So I just have a roll of this, it's kind of tulle kind of ribbon. I don't know what exactly you would call it, but I cut it in a long strip, and then I cut the strip down because I didn't want it too thick. This white one was a lot thicker, which is good, but it is a bit bulkier then as well. So this one I just cut into a strip, and I use 3 fingers as a measuring device for this. That's about how big I want it. Oops. So just kind of start it there and wind it around 3 fingers, and then take it off your fingers and squish it in the center. And of course this part is going to be tricky to do while everybody's watching me. But you just take a little strip, a little thin strip from the same, or it can be a coordinating color, and just tie it really tight in the center there. I just make a double knot there like that, and then take it would work just like a bow like that. If you want to make a flower, you can just sort of open up those places where you had it overlapped. And this one is a really kind of a fray type ribbon, which Makes a neat effect, actually. The blue one that I didn't have this much fraying, so it gave kind of a different look. So you just take a minute to separate all those loops that are inside of each other like that. Oh goodness, this one is not looking very floral-like. But this is a junk journal, right? So, hey, this one kind of looks like a butterfly. Does it look like a butterfly? I think I'm going to call this one a butterfly. And instead of one of these for the center, I could put a center there. Or I could put a little strip. I think I'm going to put a little strip of pearls or something down it and call it a butterfly, because it kind of looks like a butterfly to me. So that's just how you make those guys. Here's another idea. I made these a little while ago, but I thought they would look good in a junk journal too. Not all of these are going to match in colors, but there are some green and blue ones here that I think would look okay. And I have yellow in the kit as well. So these are just some scraps, some small scraps of fabric. Some of them have lace and little bits of trim, different things. And I just put 3 or 4 pieces on top of each other and then sewed a button, just sewed it by hand on top. So, and then those can just go into little places on the journal too for a little accent. My next idea is just to make kind of some scriptures that look like maybe they're from a scroll. So I had some packing paper, and I tea or coffee dyed this a while ago. I'm not sure which it was, but it's just really rough, kind of parchment sort of looking paper. So I thought what I would do is I would just rip a piece off and do a little bit of smushing on my, this is just a Tim Holtz mat that I cut it up into 4 pieces so that it would fit in my Bible when I was doing Bible journaling, and I find it really handy for doing this sort of thing too. I just want a tiny bit of a spritz there, and then just kind of add a little extra aging to this piece, just like that. Don't want to get this too wet. So that looks good. And then I just tore around 3 of the scriptures that are in the kit. And I'm just going to glue those on here and tear around the edges again. So just going to grab a little scratch piece of paper here. And I did the glue stick, but I think maybe I'll just do a little dot of tacky glue as well, because this is a bit damp. So I'm just going to put it on there like that. And a bit of tacky glue. That one can go like that. That's not going to fit there though. That can go up there then. And this one can go here. I don't know if I'm going to keep this, these 3 scriptures together on this piece of parchment type stuff. It looks kind of cool together like that. I may just even keep it like that for the page. I'll decide. So I'm just going to ink a little bit more around the edges. I inked the edges of the individual scriptures. This time I'm using Distress tea dye ink. So just there. And that's your next idea. And here's my last idea for this video. These are flowers. So I just made some circle flowers. So I made leaves in different ways. I made the circles in different ways. So I'll just show you quickly how to make those guys. So I just took a bunch of different circle punches. I have this one was 1 3/8 inch. This one was 1 1/8 inch. This one was 1 inch and a 3/4 inch. So, but we use what you have. Sometimes I just put a little bit of ink around the edges of all of the pieces, like that. And then I glue them together. So just biggest to smallest, of course. I'll just put that one on there. Oops. That one's on there. This one in here. And this one on here. Then for leaves, you can use, I used rickrack for a couple of those. So I just have some green rickrack here. So I'm just going to put that underneath. That's an awfully big leaf, but I can always trim that if it looks too big later. And I'm just going to use my tiny attacher to staple that on. Well, actually that'll be good as long as I trim that off a little bit there. So there's one. Kind of wonky leaves on that one. But here's some of the other ones that I did with a little bit thinner rickrack. So there's that one. And then for the centers, I just have these little, but you can use a button, you can use sequin. I have made these before with brads in the center, so whatever you want to put in the center. And there's your finished flower. And I'll just make one more and show you a different way to do the leaf. So just ink that up. The inking is a little bit fiddly on these things, but it does make a nicer flower in the end, I think. Glue them together again. These are just using some of my scraps again from my bin that I showed you a couple of videos ago. So just keep on going with the scraps. And then what I'm going to do for this leaf is I'm going to cut this is a 1 1/4 inch circle, so I'll just cut that out of green. And then this is a little bit fiddly too, but just put it back in and put it in, you know, about halfway or so, like that, and give it a punch. And then you're left with this little piece. So put the fuller part of the circle back in here. Yeah. This is a little bit fiddly. If you don't want to fiddle with this, you can do it different ways. Another way you could is just use some artificial flower leaves. That would work too. And then just give it a punch when it looks like that. And you'll be left with a little apple core and 2 leaves. So then I just put one leaf on top of the other like that. A bit of glue on top of that. And there's my flower. And I think that looks a really cute leaf too. And then I'll just put a center in that one as well. So there you go. There's your flowers. So you can make those. These are some that I had made previously. So these ones are the ones I put brads inside. So book page looks good. Different colors of cardstock, whatever you want. This one I actually used kind of a tissue paper for the leaves. I'm not sure I care for that, but you can make them with all kinds of different things. So I'll see you in the next video with 10 more ideas to make something else. Thanks, friends.